Well, welcome back to the channel.
Hello, hola.
I think you're gonna get familiar to not just the channel, but with the audience, and you're gonna. I hope you become someone that comes to the channel like regularly,
Yeah.
and yeah. Um, I was the question I was going to ask you was literally about your day. But how was your day?
My day was pretty good. Yeah.
Um,
Uh pretty pretty chill. Just a normal day. Went to work, cared for the kids, went to the gym, and
how
that's
long do
about it.
do you go for to the gym for?
It's not really any time period. It's just about just getting to the gym. I just 30-40 minutes.
34 minutes. Is that
That's
your like regular time?
no. I mean, I normally try to stay for about an hour.
Mm.
An
Yeah,
hour is
I went to the gym. I think it was on Sunday.
uh-huh.
I went to the gym. Oh, if I could,
Mhm.
if I could, because
Yeah.
I had stopped going to the gym for like probably I would say 7 months.
Mhm.
I stopped completely going to the gym, and then
Mhm.
I went on Sunday, and it felt really good, to be honest.
Mhm.
On Sunday I had a productive day, and I felt that the gym gave it like a plus, you know.
Oh yeah, it feels so great going to the gym. It just wakes you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one thing, I don't know if you've been paying attention to the news.
Hmm.
One thing that I wanted to ask you,
Yeah.
it's your opinion on English being officially the language of the country.
I mean, honestly, I felt like English was always the language of the country.
Right. That's
You know?
that's that's how I felt too.
Yeah.
But when I found out that it wasn't, I was like,
Hmm. What was the language before English? I mean,
it didn't have
it just didn't have anything.
no.
So basically, it's like a portion. Like if we look at it this way, let's say if somebody's uh, like putting a job profile or whatever, and they just left something blank, and then they just put something that's obvious. They just
Yeah,
put it there. So they just put it in. I mean,
yeah. It didn't have a an official language,
yeah.
and
Well, I mean, yeah.
well, English was the language that was what's this word, the oh, I forgot,
Yeah.
the dominate language,
Hmm.
uh, but there's a lot of people are mad that Trump made English the official language.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a good thing?
I mean,
I mean, from your perspective,
it's
how old are
honestly,
you?
yeah.
How old are you? 20.
21.
From a 21 year girl,
Yeah.
from your experience or
I mean,
from your perspective. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're good. I always felt like English is just the Americans' language anyway. I mean, when wasn't English the American language? I mean, now it's just official. Like, I don't understand why people would be upset about that. It's just, it's obviously always been the language of
Yeah, a lot
the
of people
country.
are mad that the
Yeah.
English is the official language,
Hmm.
especially um, the
I mean, what?
Democrats
Yeah.
and liberals. I think they're just mad because they just hate Trump and everything that he does,
Yeah.
or say, they're gonna hate it.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody doesn't like somebody, they're going to find any reason to not like them. And something as small as little as just making the English language the language of the country is what they would get mad at. Even if it's something that's just so like obvious. I mean, it's obvious English is the country's language. I mean, when you go to other countries, there's languages for those other countries, and here it's English. It's always been English.
Yeah, I mean,
But
the way I see it is that the way I see it is every country has their official language.
yeah.
Mexico has Spanish. Central America has Spanish. Brazil, they don't. I didn't know that Brazil spoke English, but they do. Do you know? Do you know Brazil, the country of Brazil?
Yeah.
Do you know where is that? Where is located?
Where it's located? Brazil. It's like under the Gulf of Mexico, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. If you see it like that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's next to Guatemala and next to
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah, it's yeah. So I didn't know that they spoke English.
Yeah.
But I think they have the British accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, every country has their own language. I don't know why people would be upset that they made English the official language.
Yeah.
I guess a lot of people think that a lot of things is going to change now that English is the official language. But I don't think it's going to change for the people that speak Spanish and they don't speak English. The only change that they're gonna have is that they might not get the help that they used to get before by giving them documents in their language. Now everything's going to be in English, and I think for some part that's good because it's going to push people to maybe learn English. And I mean, who wouldn't? How many languages do you speak?
I speak a little bit of German, a little bit of Spanish, and English. Yeah.
You have knowledge of three. My main it's Spanish, obviously, right? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
And English. Is German hard to speak?
It is. It's easy to learn from Duolingo.
Do you use it?
Yeah. I know I used it to learn some German, but I'm not fluent in German or Spanish. I just know some. I practiced German on Duolingo for about 3 to 4 months. It's hard to learn if you're learning from a book, because I tried learning German from a book and I just could not get it.
Yeah.
But from an app, it's much easier.
Yeah, because it explains you.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
It says it out loud. It pronounces
it.
it.
Yeah.
It gives you little scenarios.
I think that's the
Yeah.
advantage of Duolingo.
Right.
Because it pronounces the words.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And you get to like repeat it. You get to play the sessions over again. Like the little, yeah.
I used Duolingo to learn Portuguese.
Oh, really?
I liked the.
So you know some Portuguese then?
It was like probably 3 years ago, but a few words that I picked.
Oh, okay.
Picked up, and that's it. Yeah, but I don't know how to form like full sentences. Yeah, that I don't know. Yeah, how's your book going?
It's going good. It should be published soon, actually. I think less than a week. So
less than a week. Oh, that's very soon.
yeah. It's very soon.
Oh, that's good. And you said what's the name of the book again?
The Living Water Poetry.
You created a YouTube. No, it's not a YouTube, but what is it called? An Instagram account.
An Instagram?
Yeah.
Oh yes,
you did, right?
I have an Instagram account made for it.
Write it down. I'm going to.
Okay.
Write it down. I'm going to
Okay.
put it there, so I'm gonna link it into the description.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we were talking about kids. Right?
Kids. Yeah.
What are your thoughts about getting married at a young age?
I think it's a great choice, honestly. It's just a choice that has to be made out of a lot of wisdom, discernment. A lot of wisdom and discernment, and patience is the best thing too. Don't rush into anything. Um, Married at a young age, like make sure you're both committed to each other. Make sure you're both into each other. I've never been married. Um, I don't think I've ever gotten to the point where I'm gonna get married. Um, so that's like something that's not really in my boat right now. But I think just in general for people, based off of like what I've seen or whatever, and like what people have told me is just like be careful and make sure it's the person you want to be with, because marriage is a huge thing. It's like super sacrifice. You're living with, I mean, you're sharing your whole life with that person. It's like once you're married, you're living together. You're doing everything together. It's like that person is part of you. So just make sure that person really aligns with what you want in your whole life. And if they're gonna drag you down or pull you up, like their lifestyle, make sure what their lifestyle is like. I noticed one thing too, like if people are like married, they're living together, they're sharing their whole lifestyle together. So once you move in together, you're bringing those two lifestyles in the same house. And if you're not happy with with the way that person is when you guys are not even living together, you should really second guess. Just really think hard if that person is the one you want to be with your whole life, because like let's say if one person is very just determined and has a lot of goals and visions and wants their life a specific way, and then the other person has no idea what they want to do with their life, and they're just like not really there yet. When you bring those two in one place, it can be very difficult and frustrating for one of the people. So one of the people, yeah.
Would you say that values should align with each other's?
Yes. I think it's very important for values to align with each other's, because if they don't, they're going to clash later on, and it's going to come to the surface. Everything that is within is going to come to the surface later on with two people when you're in a relationship. The values are one thing of that, because values make us who we are. They kind of like drive our whole lifestyle. They motivate us, like the way that we are with other people. Everything comes from what our values are. Like our moral ethics come from our values. Our our thoughts on the world, our perspectives of the world comes from our values as well. So I think it matters a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know a lot of young couples that are married. I only know one couple. And I actually want to invite them into the show, and just have a conversation with them, and then see, and basically see from their perspective and what they saw in each other, what were their expectations, their basically their expectation of each other, and so they can share their journey, with us. But I think having the same values, it's something that a lot of people don't have in consideration, especially nowadays. I see a lot of people that, especially young people, that tend to throw all of that out of the window and be like, you know what, I don't care about this right now, but let me just get with this person because I find them attractive. And then that's one thing that I wanna do with this channel, and try to inform them and be like, hey, there's more to uh, the physical attraction, of a person, and I think we all should, take care of that. When I say take care of that, it's take care of our values and make sure that the person that we are getting, or we're trying to get with, have the same values.
Yeah.
Especially if you're planning to have kids, because it's gonna be very hard
Yeah.
if you wanna raise kids and you guys don't have the same values.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, from what I know, you've told me that you didn't have like a stable house, a
Oh
stable
yeah.
home.
Like the way I grew up, yeah.
Um, would you say that that affected you,
Um
or would you say that it didn't have like a much, effect in your life?
I think it reshaped who I am to the utmost of the way I carry myself, the way I am, the reason why I do what I do and how I do things. I think it shaped everything about me for the better, not for the worse. I've from my experience of not living in a stable house as a child or being raised by a stable mother and not having a father figure, I think it just really gave me more of an understanding of how important it is to have two stable people. And it really just taught me how important a childhood is, how important a childhood is, and how important it is to raise a child a specific way. How important it is to be there for your child, just specific things, nurturing a child. How important it is those stages of early childhood. So it's taught me more. It's taught me more than anything. It taught me a lot about life. I'd say.
In what ways do you think, from your experience, in what ways do you think a child is going to be affected if they don't have both of their parents? Let me go check the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if a child doesn't have both of its parents, um, I mean, I can go off of the first. I'll talk about my experience of not having a father. So I never had my father in my house, but I had like, father figures. One time I did have a stepfather for like 10 plus years.
Oh
But
wow, I didn't know that.
yeah, but they weren't my actual dad and they weren't there as a father either. So, it was just a male figure in the home that was there for a consistent amount of time.
But it didn't make an impact in your life,
No.
for the better, and be like,
No.
oh, I can look up to this person.
No, I couldn't trust the person. I couldn't tell him anything. I mean, I would tell him some things that had to do with my mother because my mother she was not there mentally. She was just like, in a whole different ball game. So he at least had some self-awareness and everything. So I was able to actually talk to him. My mother, I was never able to talk to her, like just have a conversation. But I was never able to rely on him for anything emotionally or, you know. So from my experience not having a father figure in the home and mostly only growing up with my mother, I'd say it not having a father and having one parent has caused me to have some issues, like when it comes to attachment. I do experience attachment issues, but I think that's also because my mother wasn't there for me emotionally speaking. So now I struggle with, well, not struggle, but I noticed that I do have some attachment tendency issues when it comes to, let's see, I think when it comes to letting people out of my life, like close people out of my life, and that's just due to like once I have somebody or whatever, it's like, so I think the attachment, I do have some attachment struggles. And then I think I have some commitment issues too. I mean,
what do you mean?
what?
What do you mean by?
What do I mean by that?
Yeah.
I think,
Like you don't commit to people, or
well, I commit to people,
Oh.
but then certain things kind of like causes me to step away,
such as
Like, I think I have some fears of getting too close with people, just in general. Like, I don't open up to people. Like, as I open up, I'm very open. But when it comes to, like, really trusting somebody with like, really, like, who I
with,
am, it's like that's where it gets a little hard and I start to kind of like back off. So, I mean, I pray a lot. I talk to Jesus a lot. And that's something that's really helped me because to me, he's the mother and father that I've never had.
He's the one that never leaves.
Yes.
Right.
So I tell him more. I take refuge in him more than I do a person, is what I'm saying. So I think not having parents has caused me to kind of like just, not really trust people too much and not depend on people. I think that's what how it's affected me. It's affected me like I don't depend too much on other people. It's hard for me to trust other people too much, with specific
I'm gonna
things.
ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you? How are you when it comes to expressing your emotions? Do you think that you're good at expressing your emotions, or do you think that you hide your emotions?
I think I'm very good at expressing my emotions. I took upon journaling when I was 17. I started journaling and just writing about my emotions. I think I'm very good at that. That's something I'm really good at. I tell people right off the bat about things that they've made me feel. I'm very honest and open with expressing my emotions. But if I don't feel comfortable enough to express my emotions and somebody has made me feel a certain way, then I won't tell them. I'll just keep it to myself. I think it's just a matter of being wise with it and discerning too,
Yeah.
But yeah.
Um, yeah, I didn't. When I was a child, I didn't have my parents,
Yeah.
both of them. My dad was for some time physically with us, but he wasn't emotionally there, And my mom, he came to this country, and ever since she got here, she never went back. We got here, and but that connection of a mother and son was never there, you know. And then I became an adult, and then I lived with her for like for years. Throughout high school, I was living with her, and then I moved out, and then I've been living by myself, or I've been taking care by myself for like, you know, the longest now, and I don't know if some other people have my experience, but I am now. I'm not very good at like showing emotions. Like for example, I have had people that say to me, "Hey, you don't show your emotions. Why are you happy? And you seem like you're not happy." They always tell me that. I'm gonna give you an example. My stepdad. I don't know if it was my stepdad, but both of them, my mom and my stepdad, they gave me the car that I have right now, and I saw it. I was happy, inside I was happy. I was like, oh, they're giving me a car.
Yeah.
But my stepdad was like, "Hey, show some emotions," and I was like, I'm happy. And I had another friend. He took me to a lake. He lives in San Francisco. He took me to a lake, and then he was like, "You don't show your emotions, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But you don't seem like you're happy, like you're enjoying the moment. I'm like, yeah, I'm very much enjoying the moment. And who else? I have another friend that always says like, you don't show your emotions, and I think that has that's the result of me not having like a mother or father with me when I was a child. I have memories of them when I was little, but they're not very, they're not many. But yeah, I think it's very important for us to see who we're having children with. We, do you ever want to have children?
Um,
Have you thought about it? Have you?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it all the time because I work with kids. I work with the little babies. So, when I'm carrying them or when I'm helping them, just the thought comes in my head like this, I do want a child. Now that I actually work with kids, I spend majority of my time with them, so
How many hours do you spend with them? 8?
about like, you mean a day?
Yeah, a day. Probably 7, 8,
Between 6 to 8
6.
hours.
Yeah.
6 to 8 hours, yeah.
Mm. Yes.
Uh, I spend about 30 to 35 hours a week with kids, sometimes 40 hours. So with the children.
Do you
So
have patience? Do
patience.
you feel like you would have like patience to?
Oh, definitely. I
Yeah.
think I'm equipped to be a great mother.
Mm.
Because of the work that I do with kids now. I mean, I've learned a lot about kids already.
What have you learned about kids? If anything that you can share, with
Okay,
us.
I'll share 3 things. A schedule is very important.
What do you mean by schedule?
Having children on a schedule, it helps a lot. Like, a time for breakfast, time for brushing teeth, putting on pajamas, having snack, just like a routine. A routine matters a lot with kids.
Okay.
They need routine and they need a schedule. The other thing is emotional regulation. So helping children kind of like helping children with their emotions, like emotional processing, helping them understand what they're feeling and how to deal with the emotions, and also being there for them in that moment too.
How
Like,
how will you do it? How will you help a child to understand an emotion that they're going through?
well, I've been a teacher for 9 months, so I'm not.
I mean, if
So
anything, of course,
yeah. So what I've experienced
Yeah.
till now is how do I help a children understand their emotions? As basically, if a child does something out of behavior, like randomly. So I had a child one day, just recently, a couple of days ago. A kid was playing the blocks, and the other kid, out of nowhere, just kicks him in the face.
Oh.
He just kicks him randomly. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So I take the kid out of that environment and I sit him down and I talk to him and I told him that hurt his body. It made his friend cry, and him kicking his friend hurt his body. And I asked him, why did he kick him? He just said he wanted to. So what you first do is you talk to a child about like, okay, like, do you understand your actions? Making the child understand their actions have consequences, number one. Number two, that associates the child with kind of like, oh, I did this, so now this happens. Like, okay, so this emotion, then it puts specific emotions in little pockets. Like, okay, maybe that's not the way I do this, right? So if a child is feeling upset, we always tell the child, okay, you need to take a break or read a book, calm your body down, take deep breaths, something like that. So we teach children emotional regulation and processing. We sit them down and ask them questions about why they did certain things. So then that's emotional processing. We allow them to process their actions and their emotions, kind of like able to think about what they did, and it allows them to, we allow them to kind of have that safe space with us to tell them like, okay, like tell us how they really feel. And some children just come up to us right off the bat when they're upset. They're just, hey, teacher, I want a hug. Like yesterday, we were moving very fast. I was doing a lot. I just got done feeding the kids and changing a diaper and then cleaning up the carpet. And the little girl just turns to me and she says, hey, teacher, I want a hug right now. And so, I just drop everything and I'm like, okay, come here, give her a hug. But what I think I'm shooting far from the question you asked. I think I already answered it, but I'm kind of like emphasizing, over explaining this.
No, you
But
you can go on and on.
okay,
Yeah.
so she asked me for a hug, and in that moment it showed me that that we're doing our jobs as teachers in that moment, because she's able to recognize the need that she needs, and she's able to tell me that she needs that. Because children in their first, when they're going through that development, when they're very young, they deal with all these big emotions. And I was talking to a parent the other day about this. Her child recently has been having problems of like just not listening, ignoring. When you tell him to do something, he just ignores it. He doesn't even say no. He just doesn't even, he just doesn't listen. He hears you. He's just not cooperating. So she's been dealing with that recently. We've been dealing with that too. But just to give an example, that children go through so much at this stage that you're going to see the worst before you see the better. And it's just kind of constantly going back and forth with, quote unquote, bad behavior, and then good behavior, quote unquote, bad behavior, quote unquote, and then better behavior. So it's these constant pushes and pulls of children, because they're going through all these emotional, things. They have these big emotions, and they're understanding themselves. They're feeling sadness for the first time. They're feeling anger for the first time. They're aggressiveness, compulsive. Sometimes they're very compulsive. They act on impulse, and they're testing out things. They're exploring things. They're just exploring. They're just learning things. So it's just important to create that safe space for children, to kind of like, for them to know that they have a safe space and somebody to go to, because they're dealing with a lot. Just as we are, is taking care of them.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
that's where that's the right moment where we, as adults, can come in and really start explaining all of these emotions to the kids, because they are experiencing they are experiencing them. And then if they don't have guidance, they are just going to absorb anything they see, and they're going to think like, oh, if I do this, I'm not going to have consequences. Oh, I hit, my 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 classmate. Nobody said anything, right? Oh, I can do this, and I'm not gonna. Nothing is going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best moment where we can be like, hey, you did this, and
Right.
you could have consequences, and depending on who you are, you could be like, okay, you did this, you're gonna face this.
Yeah.
And maybe teach the little kid, a lesson that they're always going to keep in mind. And I have 6 nieces. I have one baby. She's like 6 months. She's the last of my older sister. 6 months. And then what I'm going with my niece is that she's learning a lot from her older sisters. And I think if we don't take care of with what we give her, or what we teach her, she's going to grow up and thinking, oh, I can do whatever I want. I don't know if I'm explaining myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think kids are a beautiful gift from God. How you said you don't want kids right now, or it doesn't cross your mind?
Right now, it does cross my mind at this very moment.
Oh yeah, you said that. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh. At this very moment, I don't want kids, but later on in the future, I do.
How many kids would you want?
Up to 2.
2.
Right now, I'm like shooting for 1, but up to 2 would be
I think
ideal.
2. It's the
because then they have a sibling,
Yeah.
But then when you think about the money, it's like, but they need a sibling.
Well, I think, if you're like a single mother, you gotta, really think about having 2 kids, But if you have like a good partner, like, or at least someone,
Yeah.
if you are at least like co-parenting, I think 2 kids it's the ideal number.
Yeah.
I have one, two, like I think 6 siblings.
Mm-hmm.
We're a lot, We are many, and I love them, But at the same time, I think about my mom, and I see how she has worked her whole life
Mm-hmm.
to pretty much, give us the best,
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell her, Mom, if you would have, stopped at my sister,
Mm-hmm.
which is it would be like only two kids,
Yeah.
uh, I wouldn't exist, But I always think of her having more time for herself,
Mm-hmm.
like doing things that she maybe wanted to do but couldn't because she had so many kids.
Yeah.
Um, but I see that she's happy. She has what one probably 6 7 grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
They're all here,
Mm-hmm.
but um, I think having going back to the initial topic, having two parents or at least one, it's very important.
Yeah.
Um, do you know anyone that maybe single parent? Or,
Um. Honestly, no.
oh, I have
It's like, yeah. No.
yeah, probably know maybe 2 3 persons that are single parents. Um, but I always think of like I just hope they know how to raise their kids,
Yeah.
and because if you give a kid everything, I don't know how you see that, but I don't think giving everything to a kid it's something good for them.
Oh no, definitely not. I have kids at my school that basically they get everything they want, and we can tell, when they come into school. And you tell them no. This one specific child, she just throws her body, has a tantrum every time we tell her no. Every time we take something from her, every single time she throws her body on the floor, screams, kicks, tries biting, all that. So it's just it's difficult. Like you have to set boundaries with children. Children need to understand boundaries, and they need to understand that no means no. Boundaries are very important. Boundaries are very important, and then consistency. When you say no to something, don't turn your head to yes. You know,
I
it's
see
you got to
that.
keep the no's a no. Keep it no. Once you say no, keep it at that. Because then children are very sensitive and they see who's easy to work with. They're master manipulators.
Even if
So
it hurts,
yeah,
sometimes
yeah,
I see it with
yeah,
my niece.
yeah,
Sometimes I wanna give her
yeah.
everything, but then at the same time it's like no, because then I have one niece. She's very small. Sometimes I give her things, mostly money. Uh, but there was one time where she started seeing me as like a bank,
Oh
and
no.
every time she would see me, she'd be like, "Uncle, can you give me money? Give me money?" And I told her that I'm going to stop giving you money because that's the only thing that you're seeing me for, And every since that I told her that, she hasn't asked me for money.
That's good.
I give her every now and then. When they ask me for money, I don't give it.
Yeah,
I don't give it. I give them money whenever they don't ask me,
yeah,
because if I give them money every time they ask, they'll know
yeah.
that I'm going to be very easy.
Right.
What's the word, like? it's easy going, easy, manipulated,
Yeah.
however you wanna put
Yeah.
it. But and I don't want that because I don't want them to think that life is that easy,
No,
you
yeah.
know, and then that's how I do it with them,
Yeah.
and then it does hurt, sometimes it hurts because it reminds you when, like, for example, when I was a kid, like I would ask my dad for money and he would say no, like, no. So I stopped, asking him for money. But even then, like, it hurt when my dad would say no.
Yeah.
I would be like, man, I
Yeah.
really wanted that candy, or I really wanted that
Right.
some chips. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what I do with
Yeah.
my nieces, especially
Yeah.
my older niece.
Yeah.
She's always, uncle, can you give me this? Can you buy me this? I'm like,
I always, with my children, if they want something or something like that, like, let's say if they're playing with an activity and they want to play with another activity, I tell them, like, if you want to use the other activity, put that activity away, clean it up. And so, like, clean it up so then you can use the other activity. So for me, sometimes, like, just when you say no, sometimes too, like, too consistently, it can cause a child to be like, a little bit like not trust you as much, I guess, or just like kind of like distance themselves in a way, because then they're like, oh, okay, they're gonna say no anyway, and then when it comes to like an actual need, they're gonna be like, oh, they're gonna say no, they're not gonna be, but
I always think about that too, but then it's like you have to explain why you
right.
say no.
Yes,
You
exactly. I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so like you gotta explain why you are saying no.
Yeah.
Because then they're gonna then they're not gonna have that trust.
Yeah.
And they're gonna turn to someone else.
Yeah.
And you don't want that. As a
Yeah.
parent, you don't want that.
Yeah. What something that's good though too with kids is just like making, like, if they really want something, you can create that, just let that thing be the reward, like, oh, if you
Exactly.
do this you can get it, yeah, if you do this you can get it, or like, okay, if you want that, let me show you how you can get that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that I see with my. I'm not trying to talk bad, about my sisters, but that's something that I see with them. Especially with one. They always give them everything without making them work for it.
Yeah.
And I tell them life, it's not going to be that easy with them.
Yeah.
So we better teach them how to work for the things they want.
Yeah. How old are the nieces?
One is 15 years old.
Okay.
The other one is, I believe, 12 years old.
Yeah.
I believe. I'm not
Yeah.
sure. The other one, 12, it's 8 years
Okay.
old, and the last one, it's a year.
Oh, okay.
It's not she's not 8 years old. She's a year.
Just one.
She just
Yeah.
turned a year.
Okay.
One, and she's pregnant again right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So she's got a lot of kids. She's got
Yeah, that sounds like a lot.
yeah, 4. No, one. Let's see, 1,
Oh,
2,
wow.
3, 4. She's got 4 right now, plus the one that's coming, so 5.
That's a lot.
But she's happy, She
Yeah.
doesn't. Every time I see her, she's happy.
Mm-hmm.
She loves them. Yeah, I always tell her, hey, you gotta make them work for it, for the things.
Yeah. The 12 and the
Especially-
15-year-old are great ages to make them work for it.
Especially because they are girls.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want them to depend on anyone to have the
Oh,
things they want.
No, I think a lot of women fall into the trap of like, oh, I'm a woman, I can just get it, like if I just do this and this, not really doing much to work, a lot of women kind of just like, you know, in the olden days, I guess you could say a lot of women just waited around for a man to do everything for them.
Yeah, but then but you also gotta think that in the oldest time, you also had men
Yes.
that would provide,
Yeah, that's right.
and would take care of like their women
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff,
And the women weren't allowed to have property
Yeah.
without a man. So I guess,
Yeah.
yeah, and the women weren't allowed to work. So they kind of
Yeah,
needed to depend
it's
on.
got the pros and cons,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I always tell them.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, kids, you gotta work for the things that you. I mean, if you're like a parent and you have kids, I think that's something that's something that you have to do. It's you have to um, make them see or help them realize that life is not easy. Life is not going to be um, a rainbow for them.
Oh, no.
And
Yeah.
nothing is going to be free.
Yeah. I think it's important. I think one thing that my mom taught me when I was a child, I think one thing that I'm grateful for is she kind of taught me the way reality is. Well, I experienced reality from a young age, like homeless and worrying about money, not having dinner sometimes. And so like I experienced what it felt like to not really have much. And in my head, I thought we had just enough, but we actually, now that I'm getting older and able to provide for myself, I really saw how like dirt poor we were, But I think that experience has taught me that it's like reality, like life can really suck, and you got to really just make your way and work for everything that you have. And one thing that really stuck with me from when I was a kid was I wanted like a food prepared a certain way or something, and my stepdad at the time, he was preparing it for me, and I got upset the way he prepared it. And he said, if you wanted it done right, you have to do it yourself. And I don't know why, but ever since then, that stuck with me. I think he told me that when I was 8 years old. I was like in third grade or something. And so it just stuck with me all the time, that saying, if you want it done right, do it yourself. And so ever since I was a kid, I always just was like, okay, like I got to really just do my own thing then. I got to do things more the way I want them. Like after I start getting a little bit more independent and stuff like that. So as I got older, I was just, that thought I was kind of like went into my head. And so I think that thought too, like motivated me to like take more control over my life and like do more with my life, do more with my time, because one person can make a change. And just letting a child kind of experience, quote unquote reality, or like, I'm not saying let them experience not having dinner at night or like,
No.
being dirt poor. I'm
Don't
saying like let them experience.
Make them suffer. Like
right,
that,
right. You don't want to abuse your children. So you gotta just like let kids experience like what it's like. It's just they can't be too dependent on you. You can't baby your children. I think it all comes from babying your children.
Exactly.
It's great for a child to lean on you for emotional, reasons and everything like that. And like, they're by nature going to be dependent on you because, they can't do everything by themselves without an adult. So, but it's important to teach a child emotional regulation, independent skills, like, putting their own dishes away, putting the trash in the trash can, cleaning up after themselves, like little things, like cleaning up their room a little bit, whatever they can do, making their bed, stuff like that. Just teaching them independent skills is super important because it teaches them that they have a lot they have to do themselves, and we can't do it for them. We have to teach them from the age, I think, of 3 years old. Honestly, we have to really just press it on them, kind of like guide them to know that like, hey, you're getting older and you have to do this yourself.
We're not gonna be there for them like our whole lives.
Oh yeah, definitely not. We can't just pick up after them all the time. I mean, if there's parents that always say yes and yes, boundaries are very important. Number one, setting routine, having boundaries, being consistent with your no's and yeses, and then do like reward factors, getting them to motivating them to get what they want by in a healthy manner. Um,
What do you
yeah, I
think
think all
about
of those are important.
what do you think about stepdads?
I didn't have a good experience with mine, to be
You
honest.
haven't had a good experience?
No, I didn't have a good experience with
Yeah.
mine, but I think in general, stepfathers are, I think it could be good. I mean, they really could fill that emotion, that void from not having a father. They could. You know.
Yeah, I have a stepdad. He's good. You know, he has helped my mom in so many areas of her life, with us being one. He has been a father figure for myself at times. You know, I didn't grow up with him. You know, I got to know him when I was I think I was 15, 16 years old. Then when I was 20, like around there, I moved out and then I started living like by myself. Uh, but I cannot say, oh, he hasn't been good, but because he has been
Yeah.
he has been good. And I think there are good, stepdads that can feel the like that space that our dads left,
Yeah.
and then my experience with him, it's good. I have worked with him in what we do, in what I do. But he's good. I don't have
Yeah.
much negative things to talk about him.
Yeah.
But what I can say is that especially now that uh, being a single mother, it's like something new right now. Choosing someone for your children is very important,
Yeah.
especially if you're planning to give them a stepdad. Because
Yeah.
we also have had, I mean, not me, but I have heard about stories with stepdads, and they're not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But man, it's being it's what is it that you're like trying to do it in terms of your education? You wanna work with children's,
Yeah, I've been.
like, do you want to do you want to what's the word, specialize in children?
Yes. I'm getting my BA in child development. I'm transferring to Cal State LA soon in a couple months to get my bachelor's degree for child development. I'm going to be a teacher for a couple years, which I am right now, just to gain more experience and more understanding of children and everything so that I know how to work for them. What I mean by that is like coordinate programs or something, or things that I think would be of great use for children. So I'm spending a couple of years just kind of like working with children, kind of studying, hands-on experience, just to have more of an impact within the education system, children programs, stuff like that.